For centuries, they were history's villains. The official story, carved in stone by Egyptian pharaohs, told of barbaric invaders, the shepherd kings, who brought chaos and ruin to the Nile. But beneath the dusty mounds of el-Daba, a different story was waiting to be told. This is the real story of Egypt's forgotten dynasty. Our story begins not with a sudden, violent invasion, but with a slow, steady migration. For generations, people from the Levant traders, sailors, and craftsmen had been settling in the fertile Nile Delta. They weren't a conquering army. They were neighbors. As the power of the Middle Kingdom pharaohs in the south began to fade, these so-called foreigners stepped into the vacuum. They didn't destroy Egypt. They inherited it, founding a new capital, the magnificent Sea of Avaris. By 1650 BCE, Avaris was one of the largest and most vibrant cities in the ancient world. Archaeological excavations reveal a sprawling metropolis, a true cosmopolitan hub. The palaces were built with distinct Canaanite styles but decorated with Egyptian art. But the most stunning discovery completely rewrote the history books: Minoan-style frescoes. In the heart of a Hyksos palace, archaeologists found vivid paintings of bullipers, almost identical to those found on the distant island of Crete. This wasn't some isolated, barbarian kingdom. Avaris was the center of a vast international trade and diplomatic network that stretched across the Mediterranean, connecting Africa, Asia, and Europe. These mysterious kings were innovators who dragged Egypt into a new age of technology. Before the Hyksos, the Egyptian army was mostly infantry. The Delta kings introduced revolutionary tools of war: the powerful composite bow, with its superior range and force, advanced bronze working for stronger swords and armor, and most famously, the horse-drawn chariot, a weapon that would become the symbol of pharaonic might for the next 1,000 years. The celebrated military power of the new kingdom was built on the foundations laid by these very invaders. Even their choice of gods tells a story of brilliant cultural blending. The Hyksos rulers adopted the Egyptian god Set, the god of storms, chaos, and the desert. For them, Set was the Egyptian version of their own storm god, Baal. By elevating Set, they weren't disrespecting Egyptian religion. They were building a bridge between their ancestral homeland and their new kingdom, creating a unique religious identity that was both Egyptian and Asiatic. But their reign was not to last. Far to the south, in the city of Thebes, a line of native Egyptian princes launched a fierce war of liberation. Kings like Sekanian Adao and his son, Amos I, saw the Hyksos as illegitimate rulers. The conflict culminated in the brutal siege of Avaris. Archaeologists have found evidence of the city's last desperate day-stickened walls and reinforced gates, but it wasn't enough. A Mosai broke through, driving the Hyksos back into the Levant and razing their great capital to the ground. To justify their own rise to power, the new pharaohs of the new kingdom erased the Hyksos from history, rebranding them as vile enemies. But their legacy could not be erased. The Hyksos weren't a dark age. They were a dynamic, complex chapter that forced Egypt to look beyond its own borders and become a true international empire. They were the forgotten dynasty that forever changed the course of Egyptian history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the lost history of the Nile, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories that challenge what you think you know about the ancient world.